Hi everyone, Jordan here from the 2014 Vail Film Festival. We're going to be talking to some filmmakers today. One of our favorites, Troy Hollar, is with us. Good afternoon, how you doing?
Great to be here. Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Jordan.
You're here with your movie. Why don't you give the title and give us a little synopsis of what it's about?
It's called Grace of a Stranger, and it's the story of a guy who loses, a destitute, homeless guy who loses the one thing that's most important to him. And he has this encounter with a stranger who kind of has the power to give it back to him. So very, very vague,
Okay.
but I can't get more specific. Or
No, it's fine.
People won't see
You
it.
want to go see it. As far as the story, where did you find it? What drew you to it?
It was April of last year. I was driving home from work, and I was listening to NPR, and there was this great interview with a university professor who teaches these creative writing workshops in the Arizona State prison system. And I was really inspired by this guy who spends every Saturday for the last 10 years teaching prisoners how to write. Very dark, bleak place. I heard and then, so I was inspired enough by that, and then he read the story on which Grace is based, and I immediately saw it as a short film and called him the next morning and started the process of optioning it.
Wow, so this is a year, this process. Pretty short.
Yeah, we were finished in January, so yeah, it was 7-8 months total. So.
Cool. Sounds like you have your fingers in a lot of different parts of the filmmaking process. Do you have a favorite part of filmmaking?
I don't really. I love it. It's kind of a cop-out answer, but I do truly love it all. I love the writing. I love the editing process, and the great thing about each step is that there's some kind of editing or creations of efficiencies involved, and I have a lot of background in business. I've been a theater director and producer for 20 years, but during that I've also started and managed businesses, mostly in technology, and so there's a lot of efficiency involved in business, and I really like that part of the...
That translates well to a producer aspect.
It sure does.
And as a director.
It sure does, yeah, I love it.
Was there a moment in your life, you said you came up through theater and whatnot, is there a moment in your life when you said, oh, filmmaker, I need to be a filmmaker?
Yeah. When I was, 16, I think. No, really, this year, I sold a business last year, last summer, and it enabled me to make a film this year, which is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I was able to kind of, take a little time off, I guess you'd say, and do this during this period. So
This was self-financed?
We actually got a lot of, I financed, a good portion of it. We got a ton of support. We did a Kickstarter campaign, which predominantly friends and family and colleagues contributed to. But yeah, and we decided to pay everyone, which is not your typical model.
No, it's not.
So we did it's a union contract, and we paid everyone. We didn't defer any payments. So yeah, so that's how
I find when you pay people on set, they work a little harder.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I have no experience either way. So, I mean, actually, I should say, theater people are used to working very hard, and we had a lot of theater people or people who've done a lot of theater involved in this. The two of the three actors are old friends of mine from college. We did theater together in college and have since. So
it's nice to have that family feeling on a set.
Absolutely, and it was critical for me because they've done a ton of work in filmmaking and TV and commercials, and I've done quite a bit of work in commercials, producing commercials even, but mostly for the web with one of my businesses, and filmmaking is it's a similar process, similar skills that I was able to draw from, but they have a ton of experience kind of creating these, projects from one end to the other, and I was able to draw from that.
Well, sounds like you've been through a number of different roles in the filmmaking industry. Do you have any advice for up-and-coming filmmakers? Stuff to watch out for? Stuff they need to do?
I feel, terribly underqualified to give any advice. This is my first film.
What was a major hurdle that you had to get over?
Yeah, well, I guess for me, the financing was a big challenge just because of the choices that we made. So starting with that in mind, starting with how you're going to sell it in mind, which can can be, you can draw directly from your vision as the filmmaker for the project, but you need to be able to articulate that in a way that literally every single person on set and outside the project can understand, because I think it's really important for you to be able to communicate that to every single crew member,
Sure.
to your actors, but also to your, your backers and your other producers, exec producers, and then to your audience when you're at this stage in distribution. So it's really critical, from one end of the process to the other, to be able to do that.
Are you happy with the product, with the final film? Are you happy with what you screened?
I am, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I'll say I'm happy with it. I think, hopefully I'll become happier with it as we continue to reach a broader audience and people respond to it.
That's a good point. So what is the plan for this? More festivals? Are you going to put it online? What's the next step?
Yeah, we're doing the festival circuit right now. We've got 3 other festivals where we're playing, and including Palm Springs, which we're really excited about. And so that's the next step. And then we'll, and then we're hoping, to maybe do a licensing deal. We're hoping we're going to try to get a licensing deal in Europe in some way,
Nice.
so we can get some distribution there, because I feel like it's kind of more of a European feeling film. Okay. And then we'll probably release it online, maybe a year out or so.
Sure. Well, since this was kind of your first one, are you excited for the next one, or are you a little reluctant to do?
No, I've already moved forward. In fact, I was working on some other projects, television, feature length, a couple of web projects before I made Grace, but they were in various stages of development. So Grace was relatively easy to kind of put together and do it. So I'm continuing to work on those projects, and I'm most excited about a project called Gentrification. It was originally a TV project, which is kind of still active. It won Best Writing at the New York TV Festival a couple years ago, and the writing team, which includes Matt Letcher and Nipper Knapp, who star in my film, and Andy Newberg, who was my co-writer on Grace. Those 3 they wrote the TV show, and they've written a feature script now based on it, and it's an incredible comedy, social commentary, really relevant, but also timeless. I'm making it sound like, it's like the greatest American film ever, but we hope it will be, and so we're really excited. We're kind of, just out now, trying to get producing partners for that. So.
Well, thanks so much for coming by. It's a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Jordan. Great to be here.
Well, that's it for us at the 2014 Vail Film Festival. Check out vailfilmfestival.com for updates. We'll see you next year.